Excuse me if I cough a lot in this video because I have a cough. I'm sick. Stop making album tier lists. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen this. If you probably have, if you're a part of like a musician subreddit on Reddit, or maybe you've seen a video. But the whole topic I'm trying to address, where more specifically is people making these tier lists on these platforms, and they're like, what is your favorite album from this artist? What is your favorite, like, what is the S tier, what is A tier, what is D tier, whatever, right? And people make this for famous artists, not so famous artists, whatever. So the problem I'm trying to address is people generalizing music so much, right? Generalizing their opinions on music. This album sucks, this song sucks, this artist sucks, all of that shit. And I'll tell you the issue with it. And before I get to that, actually, you're gonna see a clip right now of a podcast, not a podcast, I'm sorry, an interview of Tyler the Creator. I'll plug in the whole interview and whatever. And yeah, so watch that right now.
I tried to debate Tyler last night into the whole, the big best rapper in the game, the big three. They talking about Drake, Kendrick, Cole. He wouldn't go for it. He says,
bro,
the only
who
thing
gives a fuck? Hey, and you know what annoys me when people are like, this is my top 5, and people argue it. Like, you got 17-year-olds like, yeah, like, dude, fucking Ready to Die and Enter the Wu-Tang is my top 10 album ever. I'm like, bro, you just got hair on your dick. Stop. It's performative. It's like, that's your, and again, some people might be right, but I'm right. That's you got young boys and babies out here, and that's your favorite. Like, I don't care about people's objective top nothing. Tell me what is your favorite shit, because you learn so much from people. You get context. I want to know why you think Pookie Dookie's second album is your favorite. Oh, I have memories attached to it. My brother did this when I was young, this and that. And track 7, he talks about this. Found out I was going through it. Like, I want to hear that. I don't care about no objective. Dude, the kids be doing it with me. They do a tier list of like A, B, C, and D of the albums they like of me, and then ask people thoughts. You're asking people their thoughts on what you hold to your heart. What kind of stupid shit is that? That's why I fucking hate rap Twitter, because everything's performative. Everyone is making these lists just to have people engage. Like, who gives a fuck who the top 3 is? Jamiroquai is like my favorite band. I don't know no one that talks about them, and I don't give a fuck because I enjoy it in my house and in my car. So why the fuck are we sitting here arguing about, oh, you don't got Tupac in your top 5? Nigga, no. I was fucking born when that nigga was at his peak. Like, who gives a fuck? Tell me your personal top 5, because y'all gonna just go in circles.
So, by the way, I don't have the video imprinted in my memory, so I might be speaking over the same things he's talked about, but that is basically where my thoughts are coming from as well. So, here's the thing. Music is such a personal thing, right? There's a reason why what you think are so-called cringe artists still have a lot of fan following to them. And I'm gonna say that these are things that not a lot of people think about very often. Even though they have it in the back of their minds that, yeah, music is subjective and everyone has their own taste and all of that, people don't think about that enough. So, let's take an example, right? Someone who loves rap or trap music or hip-hop, kind of the Drake, Kanye, Tyler the Creator, Kendrick, all of that shit, right? Whatever artists come into that genre for you. And this is a huge generalization that I'm already making. They won't really listen to something like rock, right? Or they'll shy away from a lot of pop. Maybe a little bit, because these artists also kind of get into pop. They'll definitely stay away from something very regional, right? But have you ever considered how many layers a person has to them, right? And I'm just stating basic facts, right? I'm not saying that people don't think about the fact that people can have a varied music taste, right? Because someone who listens to rap can also listen to Bollywood at the same time, can also listen to Kannada music if they like, can also listen to BTS if they like. But a huge generalization that is made, or at least, I mean, not so often, but it is made that people who listen to this certain kind of genre will stay away from the kind of opposite of it, right? But My entire issue is people caring about the opinions of what others think of the same shit they listen to. Now, if I were to delve deeper into that, the whole thing about album tier list, right, is right. So I'm going to go on an app. I'm going to say that this is my opinion of all of the albums in a tier list. What is the best? What is the worst? And then people are gonna shit on it and be like, what, how the hell do you think that Igor is an F tier album and Flower Boy is an S tier album? How is that even possible? And people genuinely have arguments about these on Twitter, on Reddit, Instagram, whatever. But what is the best album? What is the best song? People get pressed about how dare you put Self Control as your least favorite song from Frank Ocean? How dare you put Novocaine as like the best song from him? There are so many better songs. How dare you hate on Nostalgia Ultra? I'm just naming like all of these basic songs and artists that most people know about. Well, probably most people don't, but and that is so fucking dumb. It is genuinely dumb because the whole point I'm trying to get at is people forget how personal music is. The music you listen to is a literal reflection of your feelings, right? An artist makes a song and it is meant to communicate with you in a certain way. And when it does so positively, right? When you listen to a song, you relate to it, or you like the instrumentals of that song, something about it speaks to you emotionally, right? Mentally, it happens in your brain. There's chemicals and shit involved. It speaks to you. It is kind of it's ingrained with you. You will hum the melody of that song if you love it so much. It'll get stuck. That's what catchy songs are, right? They get stuck in your mind. And there's no such thing as, I mean, there is such a thing as objectively catchy songs and catchy rhythms that humans are actually gravitated towards. But genuinely, if a person loves a song enough, it can basically just be white noise and just they love it because it speaks to them, right? So if you're someone who listens to BTS and you have people hate on you, you most definitely do. That, oh my god, I can't believe you listen to BTS, that is so cringe. I'm not gonna tell you that you're right or wrong for listening to BTS because there is no right or wrong in this situation, right? You listen to music that helps you. It helps you achieve something, right? It makes you feel relaxed. It makes you feel happy. It makes you feel sad if when you need to feel sad. It gives you energy, whatever it is. But you do it because it speaks to you and yourself personally, right? There are a great example is like Blonde by Frank Ocean. People have hundreds of thousands of interpretations of the same songs and the same albums over and over and over again. And I see people posting these interpretations on Reddit all the time, right? And every now and then there's someone in the comments of these posts being like, no, there's no way he was talking about that. He was actually talking about something different. But there are also people sometimes who are like, yeah, you know what? It's you have your own interpretation of it. It's great that it's able to speak to you. I hate how music is used. I hate how music is used as a means of validation, to gain validation. There's people out there who say they like something just because their friend group does, just because they think saying that they will like this will earn them some credit in the group, some respect in the group, right? So, and there's people who it's a whole performative thing for them, right? They see like their favorite artist mentioning a song and they'll be like, I'll be as cool as that guy if I listen to that and if I start saying that I like it. That is what happened with me, precisely what happened with me, until I realized what I was doing. So MF Doom's One Beer samples this song called Wheat October 18, which means 18th October. No, wait, what? Wheat October something, some date, right? I'll put it on the screen, which means 8th October and some year, right? And that is a song from Cortex from their album Tropeo Blue, which is like a French jazz band. And I heard Tyler the Creator mentioning another song from them in a different interview. If I'm not mistaken, the interview is him discussing Flower Boy with I forgot his name, Gerard Carmichael, I think. Yes, and he mentioned that song. He mentioned the song, and it's called uh, yeah, Le L'Enfant Samba. I'm learning French right now and I can't speak French. But it basically means the Samba child, and that is also of the same album. And what he said specifically was, I love, and I'm quoting, right? I love this part of this song where this lady just starts singing like la 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 la, and I have a 10-minute version looping of that. And I'm like, whoa, that sounds cool, right? And if I say that I like that song, or if I try to like that song, then people around me who've also seen this interview, when they see that, they'll be like, oh my god, this guy is just as cool as Tyler the Creator. And this whole thing was an unconscious thought process in my mind. I wasn't fully aware of the fact, right? I was just like, oh, I'm going to listen to a song because he said he likes it. But there's this whole internal thing happening, right, that you're not aware of. And I saw this clip that I showed in this video before, and I'm like, oh shit, that's what happened with me. But thankfully, or not thankfully, but whatever, after I listened to that song, I ended up listening to the whole album, Trope Oblo, and it is by far one of my, like, it's my top 3 albums right now that I love, right? I just absolutely love the woman, whoever she is, just singing her heart out, and I love the drums, and there's this certain drum break that's kind of repeated in the song. It's a crash that's in like a in this certain time signature that just comes along. You'll hear it, you'll recognize it when you hear it, and I love that. And I listened to it enough that it became something other than what it was recommended to me by, right? It became my own, and I'm like, okay, I listen to this album because I genuinely like hearing all these sounds, and I'm not listening to this album just because Tyler the Creator mentioned it in one of his videos, right? One of his interviews. And I'm like, you know what, since I like this artist so much, let me just listen to some of their other albums. So there's just another album called In Edit 76 or something, and there's another one called I forgot the name, but the other one's cover art is just Cortex written in green. Um, yeah, and I started really loving that shit. And since I'm learning French right now, uh, just listening to those songs while doing my French lessons and my homework, it's so like it's a whole experience for me, and it's my own experience, right? So the whole point of this whole elaborate story was that I realized I was listening to something just to look cool or sound cool. There's some other artists he's also mentioned in the past that I've gone and checked, and I've heard these albums by them just because he mentioned it. There are so many, like at least 4 or 5 albums in my library right now that people have recommended to me, that other people listen to, that don't really truly speak to me, that I just really heard because I wanted to fit in with them better. I'll admit this, I might put a picture of it, but I have this list of albums that once I kind of got into this new group of friends, or one or two new friends, and they have a very wide music taste. And I was like, wait, I should listen to some of this stuff. And that's how I got into some new artists. But at the end I was like, man, me making this whole list so I can listen to these albums, it's so like unnatural. It feels so unnatural because I have to push myself to listen to these albums even though I might not really love it. And I was also side by side convincing myself that, you know what, that is just the process, right? Sometimes you have to listen to something you don't like in order to find out what you like, which is how I discovered that I sort of kind of enjoy Death Grips, right? um because I didn't understand how someone could just like that stupid ass noise, right? That is also how I got a bit into the rock, I guess. Listen to Radiohead. People, I don't know, but someone told me that Radiohead isn't rock. Whatever, it doesn't matter to me. But that's how I got into Radiohead. That's how I got into the Strokes, the Smiths. What else? Duster. That's how I got into some shoegaze, like Cocteau Twins, whatever, or My Bloody Valentine, which I haven't listened to a lot except for a couple of songs. And that happened, and I only really truly enjoyed a couple albums of them, and I made sure to give them second chances. And I do like some of them, but the thing is, you only really listen to an album. An album really speaks to you once you listen to it front to back enough times, right? So it's not that I dislike these albums, but it's the approach that bothers me. That, oh, I'm listening to this just because it makes me more acceptable in the community. And there's no issue with it if in the end the album really does end up speaking to you, because you really can't fake liking something, right? You really have to just go inside yourself and ask, do I really like this? Do I really like listening to this? Because it's just a feeling, right? And the feeling kind of speaks back to you. So all of these albums and all of these songs trying to fit in with the community. My whole issue is people who I'm sure are out there just like me, who want to get into these new, or don't even want to get into these new artists, but they walk into a friend group or any group, right? Their colleagues or their online friends or their siblings or whatever, and they want to fit in with them. They want a conversation to happen about something they like. But wait, what about what you like? Why would you not talk about what speaks to you? Why would you not speak about that one track you like off of that one random album from this random artist? Because it really does. And some people might argue that, oh, people just don't give a shit, but that's their fault, right? I mean, obviously you can't just go around boasting about what you love, because that gets annoying. But when you have an opportunity to speak, why are you ashamed of what you like? Why are you ashamed of something that truly speaks to you emotionally? And I'm just saying what he said in the video, but that is just how it is. And you have to realize that making all these album tier lists, ranking all these albums, giving them ratings, giving them reviews, at the end of the day, your opinion doesn't really change anyone's thinking, right? So I was extremely into Joji before, before, like, when my music taste was really starting to develop. And Ballads 1 was an amazing album, and it was just so nice to listen to, right? And it spoke to me a lot. People hate that one song which has Trippie Redd on it, and he has that weird verse where he's just singing. Like, one of my friends hates it, but I'm like, bro, I love that. Like, it's such a different sound in the whole album, and it just sounds so weird and good with that autotune. Yeah, and I like it. And what happened was, maybe a couple of weeks or months after listening to that album, I went to YouTube and I found out about this guy Anthony Fantano, and I saw a review he made, and he started talking about how it's not really a good album and how it doesn't, it's not very refined or whatever, and he gave it a low rating or something. But I watched that video, and after that I was like, but man, I still love this album. So what happened was, I was under the preconception that, or the misconception that, oh, what he's saying about this album really matters, when it doesn't. Like, if you go and watch that video, what he's really talking about is Joji holistically, right? He's speaking from such an objective standpoint, and I'm like, fuck that. And I'm not saying objective opinions don't matter, because they have their time and place, and that's just how, that's how popular songs are. That's how popular songs exist, right? Because a mass amount of following just speaks to it, or a mass amount of following just has the song speaking to them. But I hate how people take Anthony Fantano so seriously. I've seen this. I've seen people get pressed about his ratings, and I've seen, like, forget about Anthony Fantano for a second. I've seen how people get so pressed about people's opinions about each other's music taste. And I just, like, I don't know, there's nothing inherently wrong with these people. Like, I don't have any beef with you if you do that, but man, just think about how personal it is. Like, if you really go, like, wouldn't you be offended if someone really shitted on your music taste, but then you kind of just brush it off because, oh, they don't really like what I like? Why can't you have that kind of mentality with other people's music taste, right? And yeah, I honestly, I don't hate Anthony Fantano personally. I guess I'm still figuring it out, because he's a goofy person. He's a nice person. He's very, very knowledgeable. But he has heard so much music. Like he's basically, I don't know, heard everything that is to hear, that is there to hear, right? I see him talking about all these random ass albums that I don't care about, and I'm like, man, this guy listens to music for a living. How painful must that be? Like his job is listening to music and giving opinions about it. How, like, it's not like he still doesn't enjoy music, but it's so much different from someone who just listens to music because it makes them feel good, right? It's a whole job for him. It's what brings him money, I guess. And it's his whole persona, right? I listen to music and I review it. I review albums. I just don't, like, I could never be that, honestly. Something I said a while ago is that people that have too many playlists are like genuinely red flags to me. And I said that because people who have so many playlists, they don't listen to half of them, and when they do, they don't listen to half of the songs in them. Why would you make a playlist where every single song doesn't speak to you, right? And obviously every single song doesn't speak to you at every single time, even if you like it, right? Out of all the playlists that I have, I can't listen to everything at any time, right? There is a certain song that just goes on, that is fit for that moment. And I used to have like two playlists, then I added a third one, then I stuck with those three for a long time. And now recently, since I've gotten into more artists, I added like four more playlists, right? And this isn't this isn't really about, well, a part of it is about discovering new artists and how they all don't fit into a small group of playlists, but it's also about your lifestyle, right? So I have three of my new playlists are about activities. One of them is about running, one of them is about when I'm writing or when I'm drawing, and one of them is when I'm at the gym. uh, and then there's others that are separated by feeling, like one is just, hard hitting songs, one is just kind of hard hitting also but bit more chill, and one is just kind of like when I'm sad, and another one is for strictly rock or rock oriented or alternated oriented music, and one is just for like old Bollywood music, right? And yeah, I don't know, my entire point is that if you think of music as a social token, as something that gets you somewhere socially, or you rely on it for validation, you're doing it wrong, or at least you're not, like just what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, you have to step back, and I swear it'll be so much of a better experience for you if you stop giving a fuck about what your music taste has to do with other people's opinions, or what your music taste has to do in a social setting. The entire point of listening to music is that it helps you. It gives you an energy to stick with. It gives you a feeling, and that is so important, to just feel those feelings. Why would you ever rely on your taste, or on the music you listen to be a form that validates your so-called likings, right? That gets you in a better place in a social situations? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck, literally? That's why i I genuinely have no shame in talking about the stupidest songs that people might hate on, or just, just saying what my opinion is. There's no right or wrong. Like, I'm gonna say my favorite song off of Channel Orange is End, which is like a completely muffled out, not even a song, it's like an interlude. It's not, yeah, it doesn't even qualify as a song, but that's like my favorite song off the album. My favorite song off of Blonde, and it keeps changing, but I love Be Yourself, right? And I guess people agree with that, but it's also not a song, it's just an interlude. It's just a mom talking to her son, and there's no shame in that. There's no shame in liking what you like. I feel like I've talked about this in another video, but there is no humiliation. There is nothing wrong with loving what you love and saying that. If someone doesn't get it, then fuck them, right? Stop making tier lists. Stop making it so objectively oriented. Stop making it so like, if you don't like Drake, I can't be your friend. If you don't listen to Lana Del Rey, I hate you. If you hate Taylor Swift, I'll never date you. People have their preferences. For the record, I don't like Taylor Swift at all because none of her music speaks to me. You know, I guess I have some sentimental value attached to a couple of songs of her. I don't even listen to them, right? It just exists out there somewhere. I don't like BTS. I don't like any of that shit. And I haven't even tried it, but I know I just don't like it, right? It's not impossible for me to like it, but if I don't want to listen to it, then I don't want to listen to it. This is why I hate people recommending albums to me and forcing me to listen to them. I love it when someone just mentions an album and be like, "You should listen to this." Okay, I'll keep it in mind and I'll listen to it. But when someone's like, "Bro, you have to listen to this album," you shut up. You have no clue what I like. You have absolutely no clue what I like. Nah. On that note, I love shitting on other people's music tastes. I'm being serious. I'm being serious. I okay, and it's more of a joke, but I'm genuinely serious. I like making fun of people who listen to BTS. Not because I don't understand that there is a subjectivity thing to it, because at the back of my mind I'm always like, yeah, there is a certain reason why this person likes BTS, but I just like making fun of it because so many people do. And honestly, I would love to be made fun of if I'm listening to something that a lot of people make fun of, because at the end of the day I wouldn't get offended. I'd be like, cool, I love my shit. That's all that really matters. And maybe a small part of myself is trying to condition these people who get so pressed about someone offending their music taste by just chilling the fuck out. Like, who gives a shit? Why do you even care? Right? Which is like a bad approach, but bro, I'm only human. Okay, don't tell me that you don't like shitting on other people's music tastes. But yeah, the whole point is stop making album tier lists. Stop attaching your value or your social value to your music. If you like what you like, that's it. It doesn't matter if people care about it. I mean, it doesn't matter if people don't care about it, because if people do care about it, then it matters, because, well, you can have a nice conversation with them about it and you can connect with them by that. But I think the entire premise of this is just understand that so much of entertainment is so personal. And even though billions of people listen to the same songs and love them, like, you know, all the popular pop records or all the popular rap songs, whatever, yeah, there is a community thing to it that so many people love it. And while a small percentage of people might hate it, the fact isn't that who loves it or who hates it, it's about how it speaks to them personally, right? So since there's so many people in the world, there's always going to be people who feel pretty much the same way about the same song. But what you have to understand is that to these people personally, they can't really understand someone else's perspective, right? So personally speaking, these people's perspectives are so damn personal to them that you can never understand it. It might be that one small lyric from that random ass song that reminds them of one random memory they had in their childhood, and that is how it speaks to them. And if they love it for that, so be it, right? At the same time, you can agree with most people on the fact that, oh, I love the drums on this, I love how dancey it is, I love how it makes me dance. That's cool. That's just an inevitable thing that's going to exist. And on the flip side, there's also inevitable thing. There is also an inevitable thing that exists about people not liking the music, right? Because let's be honest, it's one song. Even though it speaks like, honestly, a good song, a great song speaks in a million different ways to a million different people, right? But there's only enough, like, there's only so much one song can contain, and some songs are just bad, right, objectively speaking, right? But at the same time, the, if you go on a much deeper level, some people don't see it as bad at all, right? Like, I could never imagine how someone would like BTS songs, but they do. It exists, right? You just can't really, the most you can do is observe it and understand it from a distance. Like, yeah, they probably like it because of their life experience or whatever. But I'm sure there's people out there who like Seabat, like genuinely like I don't know if the person who posted or made the song was being satirical, but what if he isn't? What if he really just loves that song? Yeah, that's the fucking video. My phone is running out of storage.